It's time for a new episode of Why Are They Called That? And today we're going to find out why foxes are called clever animals. Now, if you've ever seen a fox or any number of other vulpine animals slink away after failing to catch their dinner, you might think that they're not that clever, too. However, in spite of these occasional dim-witted displays, foxes really are quite clever. But how did we come to associate them with this particular adjective? Well, as with a lot of things that have made it into the English language, the answer can be found in the great outdoors. More specifically, in the trees. In order to get at why we call foxes clever, we first need to talk about the historical relationship between foxes and trees. See, while it's true that foxes can climb trees, they don't tend to hang out in them. Unlike, say, tree-dwelling squirrels, foxes prefer to spend their time on the ground. So when they do decide to go up a tree, it's usually for a very specific reason. You see, when a fox goes up a tree, it's almost always because it wants to get something. Usually a squirrel, which also happens to be high up in the tree. And the reason that they want to get the squirrel is because the squirrel has stolen something that belongs to the fox. And that thing is, believe it or not, her young dog. Okay, so let me rewind a bit here. Sure you know, foxes are small prototypical canines found across the northern hemisphere. And while there are plenty of different species of fox, the red fox is probably the one that most people are thinking of when they hear the word fox. Red foxes typically give birth to around 4 to 6 kits, or baby foxes, each spring. These kits stay with mom until they're about 2 and 2 months old, at which point they're ready to strike out on their own. And start their own families, that is, if they can find something to eat. See, finding food isn't easy, especially when you rear a small prototypical canine whose idea of a good time is catching another animal and eating it, and unfortunately for foxes, one of their favorite foods. Tree-dwelling rodents like squirrels have evolved to spend most of their time in trees. This means that if a fox wants to eat a squirrel, he'll have to become a proficient tree climber himself. Which, as I said before, is not normally what foxes do. Holiday. However, all is not lost for our hungry fox, because there's an alternative way to get his paws on some fresh squirrel. In some cases, instead of trying to hunt down and kill a squirrel, a clever fox will simply wait until a female squirrel has given birth, then steal her babies and raise them as his own. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's horrible. Why would we ever describe that as clever? Well, the thing is, it's actually an incredibly complicated plan. The fox has to figure out where the squirrels live, know that the den will be empty during the day, have the patience to wait until nightfall, and be able to make the ascent without being detected by either the mother or father, squirrel. If any of these steps fail, the fox doesn't get dinner. Nah, I know it may not seem like a big deal to us, but for a fox, failure could mean the difference between life and death. So yeah, maybe calling foxes clever wasn't such a far stretch after all. So there you have it. The next time you hear someone call a fox clever, you'll know exactly what they're talking about. And now you know why. Do you know any obscure nature facts? Share them below. Soars, be sure to stay tuned for more episodes of Why Are They Called That? And as always, thank you for watching.